Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the AgriWebb Farmbot webinar today. We're going to be talking about enhancing your operation using data that you receive through the Farmbot and AgriWebb interface. I want to welcome our speakers. We have Joshua Cameron from Pastoral Partners in Queensland, who's joining us today. And we've also got Cara Knudsen, who is from Knudsen Cattle in Queensland, who'll be talking about her experience and her operation. We've got Jack Lucas, Customer Success from AgriWebb, and we've also got Pip Horton from Farmbot, who will be sharing their experience as well. We'd love to have your questions, so please do put your questions into the Q&A. We're going to have a bit of a discussion with Cara and Josh, and then get some tips and insights from Jack and Pip. And then at the end, we'd love to do a bit of a Q&A. So definitely feel free to ask anything that you like. And no question is too simple. We're here to provide as much education and support as we can. We're also going to send out the recordings to everyone as well at the end of the webinar. So yeah, thanks very much. Over to you, Pip.
Okay, all right. Cara, if you don't mind just doing a bit of an intro to yourself and your property and a bit about where you are, that'd be great. Any insights that you'd like to share as well in terms of what you guys are doing there, or what your focuses are, that'd be of great interest.
Thanks, Pip. Welcome everyone. We are a beef producing family enterprise with my husband Darcy and our two boys Tom and Jack. We are based around Chinchilla is the main sort of area, and then up around Hughenden is our second site. We've got a breeding herd, sort of Santa Gertrudis and Shorthorn, and we do a lot of trading, and we custom feed into the domestic market. So we have 1,200 kilometres between the two different sites, and we have staff and managers on both areas. And that's, yeah, so geographically we're quite stretched, I think is probably the point here today. And yeah, we've been on the Farmbot journey now for about, well, not just Farmbot, but on this journey of technology for about 3 years. And yeah, we love innovation and adaptation, and technology is sort of how we got here where we are now.
Okay, amazing. Can you speak to a little bit about your introduction to Farmbot? How did you go about it? Did you see it on a neighbour's property, or did you see it at a conference? And when you were testing the water, so to speak, did you sort of jump right in with a full solution, or did you go piece by piece?
Yeah, thanks, Pep. Look, we actually had some older UHF type telemetry around water monitoring that was coming to an age where it was getting superseded by other things. So we knew we had to make a change. We actually looked at a number of different water monitoring systems, similar to Farmbot, all doing a little bit different. We sort of did a bit of a cost benefit analysis. We then trialled a few of the different options that we thought would suit us. And then realistically, some of the things that we were looking for was we wanted an open API platform. We wanted a company that was willing and was looking already to integrate with other software, which we didn't even really know what that would be. We just wanted the right attitude. And we wanted sort of agnostic data, and we wanted to know we owned our data, that they were the things that were part of the process. When we looked at the hardware, we wanted something that was robust, and some of the other ones we tried weren't as robust, and cockies and things like that were getting into wiring. So you really probably don't quite know that until you actually sort of trial it, put it in the paddock, see which ones. And we also looked at the different interfaces on the software and how well staff could use them, how easy they were, and how interactive, and how quick and real time the data was. So some of the other solutions for us only do a 6-hourly ping, which actually would be fine in a lot of situations, but for us, making that decision was we wanted more real-time data.
Yeah.
And so that's where we ended up with Farmbot, because that was probably the solution that was the most advanced in most of those areas. And we bought a few. So we basically, had a bit of a go at it. We could see the benefits, and then we just continued to roll it out into different parts. We're continuing to buy more and roll it out into different things, trialing new products like farm pumps. So we started with tanks. We've got troughs and rain gauges, and we've also got the pump controllers now as well.
Okay. I mean, you touched on a few things beautifully there in terms of the platform, which is quite an agnostic in terms of who we collaborate with and who we share our API with. It's open coming to our platform, and also what the data that you can remove from the platform, which Jack will show a good example of later on. Yes, actually, over to you, Josh. Can you give us an intro to where you are, what you do, and a bit about how you came about to be introduced to Farmbot?
Yeah, no dramas. My name's Josh Cameron. The organisation I work for is Partial Partners Australia. We have 12 properties around the St George Bolland district. We've got everything. I think I look after 5 properties, which is about 6,500 cattle, 7,000 sheep, and a few thousand goats. So very diverse in that side of it. We've been using Farmbot and AgriWebb for a good couple of years now, and prior to this job I was using AgriWebb before this. I suppose we came about, we needed something, because of the size of our organisation, we needed something with Farmbot and AgriWebb that we can do on a large scale and is simple. Believe it or not, I'm not the most smartest man in Australia, so this technology it's just easy, and when it's easy it works. So we heard about Farmbot and we ran with it, and yeah, we haven't looked back. We really haven't. So
yeah, okay, fantastic. One of the common things we hear about is the impact on labour resources. Was this a factor for you? Have any of you found it beneficial, and are you able to speak to a bit in what capacity, a few details around that?
yeah, so there's I couldn't tell you the kilometres of fence lines. I couldn't tell you the kilometres of pipelines. It's just, the numbers are just crazy, 170,000 acres that I look after alone. So I suppose the scale that we're at, it's just a massive time saver for us. It really is. I don't think people quite really understand the scale, that it doesn't matter if you got 3 little properties or 10 big ones. It's easy and simple to work, and I don't know, Farmbot, you guys might be able to tell us. We'd have to have 100 or so of tank sensors and everything else. So
yeah,
the time is huge. I think Cara could probably tell you a lot more. She's probably done the numbers on it, but the time it saves us is phenomenal. It'd be worth a couple of men a year, easy.
Yeah. Cara, you were speaking when I touched base with you yesterday a bit about how you go about actually working that out and putting pen to paper and calculating that. So if you can share that, that'd be really insightful.
Yeah, sure. So pretty much whenever we're looking at sort of technology, not just Farmbots, we probably look at how we're currently doing it. And so how long is it taking us to do waters? And look, you can just do it on the back of an envelope very easily, but when you start to add up the labour units and the fuel, it was very clear very early on that we were going to get a pretty good payback from particularly tanks. It's worked out at the moment with what we have done. We think we've saved about 50% of our fuel, and this is across all of the places. And we also think, based on that fuel consumption, it's about the same as 2 people driving around every day. So 2 full-time people we've saved. And of course, then you've got the additional reduction in a vehicle. So the actual cost or the savings, it is a little bit hard to work out. But yeah, that's how we go about it. And it's also the opportunity cost, because now these guys are doing something other than checking a tank to see that it's full. They are being able to go out there. We've still got to check stuff. We've still got things that we can't do that yet with. But yeah, it's certainly been a huge reduction. And given where labour is at the moment and how hard it is to find, it's just been a really also the peace of mind for staff and us not to have to worry about what's in that tank if they miss a day and those sorts of things. Been a really very, very cost effective.
Yeah. And have you, with the alerts, have you got yourself set up with all of the getting text messages, or do you dedicate that to the ball runner, so to speak?
So mostly we do dedicate it to the managers. I would say everyone's a little different in our team. So some people love to go to AgriWebb to check it with that integration. Most of us will go direct to Farmbot because we've got a lot more Farmbots, and it's just very clear and concise that that's what you're doing and checking. Most of the staff now are in the habit of, instead of going and checking water, their daily habit in the morning is to get on, and generally they would check Farmbot. So they aren't necessarily waiting for the notifications, but we do love that we get a notification. One of the downsides of the notifications is just getting it set up right. If I was brand new to it, is initially you can get notification overload. So just trying to make sure where those tanks and flow monitors are normal and where you should be worried. Otherwise you'll just get one after the other. So there's just there is some editing to do in there to get it to where you're not just going, I've got another notification.
Yeah. I find often I'll advise just to set it up. Then you can sort of say, what is business as usual? What is this normal pattern of the tank? And then you can set those parameters around. So you're getting what, if it goes above that, is it overflowing? What's low and what's critically low? So that's really good advice. Otherwise, if you set them up, you don't really know, you chuck them in there, you're getting alerted all throughout the day. There's nothing really wrong. So yes, that's all done by the platform. What about you, Josh? You've got a whole heap of I think you've got about 10 different properties listed on your platform. So I can imagine if you were, you'd be getting 5 messages a minute if you were signed up to all of them. So how do you manage that side of things?
No, we're unfortunately we're signed up to all of them. So there's another 2 farm managers, and we're all signed up for all the properties. If one of the boys are away or something like that, someone, because you've set it up, you know the paddock that it's in. Which just narrows straight down. You haven't got to go do a water run everywhere. You just go straight to the point where it is. So we try not to tread on the other farm managers' toes. We don't really go into their area if we don't need to. But we know if the boys are away and there is a drama, there's a text message that tells you the paddock, and you just go for it. So it is annoying with a few alerts a day, but water's critical. It doesn't matter where you are. Water security is huge. So a few text messages a day is nothing.
That's true. Josh, are you able to talk to, when we touched base the other day, you had an interesting story about when you're thinking about where to put pressure sensors and where it made sense within your system. I think you mentioned that originally, when you engage with the sales team, we can suggest a few things, but we don't really know. We're not on your property. We don't live it every day. So, if you can help other people thinking, how do they go about planning that? Where do they put a flow meter? Where do they put a pressure? And what the structure around that was. Yeah. So what we originally did was just send the map to Farmbot, and you guys helped us locate where we should be putting things, and that was fantastic. That was a really good guide on what we needed to do. But there was just a few changes that we made along the way. A pressure sensor just needed to go on a different line, or change that tank might never have a drama ever. There's another tank down the road that is one that plays up. So to have a sensor in areas where that there is dramas, that's really big for us. To install the Farmbot on top of the tank and put in a pressure sensor
and the sensor in the tank. Like you're looking at, could be 20 minutes if you got all the bits, because Farmbot, everything comes with it. All you literally need is a drill. You know, it's just so easy to install. The pressure line sensors are very important for us. We've got a couple of houses where people live, and you can basically tell when they've turned the sprinklers on. You can tell when there is a major drama, but like Cara was saying there before, once it's all set up and you're happy with how it's working, I don't think people quite understand just how easy it is. It's quite easy. Even without a pressure sensor in the line, the tank monitor, installing the Farmbot, drilling a hole in the top of the tank and throwing the probe in, I reckon it'll be 3 minutes and away you go.
Yeah, right. Wow. Cara, you had an interesting anecdote about when you were considering do you use a light or a main monitor in terms of the tank. So speaking to the more essential tanks and what you can perhaps get by with just the light. Keep in mind all of these are near real-time alerts. So if you have a leak or you keep one of your alerts or the parameters you set in the tank, you'll always get a message on the spot. But it's just in terms of how frequently is it sending business as usual data packets. So
so we probably like to be able to go in at any one time and when we want to and know what the tank is. So that was really much better for us rather than every 6 hours. One of the things we actually have it on, we've monitored troughs, for example, where we thought we had bits of issues during the middle of the day, and what would happen with a 6-hour window was they'd actually filled back up and you couldn't tell what was going on with that particular trough.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got them on. We've got their trough. You have to have it attached with a duplex, which the new systems you don't have to, but we've got the old system and it works quite well. So the troughs, we've got them on what we call our troublemakers, I suppose, so we can really work in real time if we've got an air problem or we've got low volume. We pump a tank up and stuff, and we can pretty much tell straight away with that. Does that answer that?
Yeah, perfect. Are you able to just speak to your experience with AgriWebb in the same sort of light? So what are you gaining from that platform, and how often are you accessing it, and sort of how do your staff members and yourself interact with it?
Yep. So first of all our staff get access to, and family members that get access to Farmbot and AgriWebb. So the important thing to note is you can set different levels, which is really cool. So if somebody comes, they're brand new, they're a contractor or their work experience, you can actually set them up very cheaply and they can view certain things. So AgriWebb, we love the map. For getting new people integrated into the business and where things are, they can actually see which paddock they're in and the icons, and they can do that offline. They don't have to be on the internet. We use AgriWebb for compliance, basically, with most of the LPA, so just around inventory and keeping those mob-based records. Some staff really like to look at the rainfall or the tank on AgriWebb, and as I said before, some don't use it like that. So it's really about personal preference and allowing them to be quite tactile, I suppose, with the software, so that as they go up in their learning as well, they can use more functions. And that's both systems work very similar like that for users, and I think whatever stuff you've got to have more people on it and being able to view it without necessarily being able to touch and play. And wreck things.
Yeah, I know with the My Farmbot platform, we've got 3 different settings. One, you've got full access. You can change the parameters. You can add people, add other mobile numbers that are getting alerts. And one is view only, and one's somewhere in the middle. Josh, are you able to speak to the same query? I know you've got a large corporate structure and you've got lots of people sort of jumping on and looking from afar. So
Yeah, well, I suppose with Farmbot, I've been using them. With AgriWebb, been using them for a while. In two different situations. I suppose before it was a family-owned operation, and it was fantastic. And then with the organisation that I'm with now, it's fantastic. Yeah, everyone's got access to it, and the reason everyone's got access to it is so they can see exactly what's going on. It doesn't matter if you're the young bloke we employed 12 months ago, or if you're the CEO. Everyone can see exactly what's going on, and that's big. That's really big for us. There's no secrets in what we do. So yeah, that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, there's definitely plenty of benefits, but I reckon you'll ask those questions. Jack will probably ask them a bit later. So
Yeah. I was actually just going to share your platforms. One moment. Your My Farmbot platforms, just so everyone that's logged on can get a sense for what you're looking at. Okay, this is our demo farm, which I'll talk to a little later on. Okay. Now, I was going to ask you, Josh, can you speak to an instance that's memorable recently where, you know, and what you've drawn from the data that you've got on the platform? We've dug this one up from a while ago, something that happened in February. So if you can explain that and what you're able to read from this data, that would be awesome.
yeah, no drama. So this is one of our properties, Sunset and Weonia. I don't know what cattle are there. A few thousand cattle, plenty of goats, mate. We the big thing about this is, so this is a tank sensor, and I knew the boys were doing work at that day, and this tank sensor, you can see previously before February the 19th that it was just running how it should have been running.
Go back.
Yep. So which is no dramas. It's average. You can see when the cattle are drinking. Yep. No dramas at all. And then as you get to this drop, it drops. You know, what's that? Close to 50%, and drops 50% in the drop of a hat. And the boys actually put 700 cattle on those couple of troughs because they walked them from another couple of paddocks across. So if I didn't know the boys were doing the work at that time, I was at another property which is about 120k away, with a dozer contractor and a grader contractor. So I would have to drop what I was going to do and go straight up there and fix a problem. But because you just watch what the gauge is doing, and you can clearly see as soon as the cattle have finished drinking that it goes back up to normal. That little alert that I received would have saved me. It probably would have took a good half to 3/4 a day to get there and figure out what the problem was, but you can clearly see it goes back up the top and then goes back to a regular heartbeat. So that saved me. That saved so much time, at least half a day, probably more.
Yeah. And also, I suppose the fact that it dropped down and then it was able to recover, you're able to see that your infrastructure is coping with that load, with those new mobs drawing on those troughs. So if they'd continued to go down and not recover, then you would have started also getting those alerts and continue to until something was resolved.
That's right. And you can clearly see that it was just a little drama that the boys put all the cattle on there at once. That's all it was.
Yep.
And because you can see the data previously and after, like, there you go. You know, that just speaks for itself right there. So
yeah.
The time, I just keep going back to the time because time's money. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. Cara, do you mind? We might share yours now. This is one of your pump control units. If you're happy to share a bit about how pump control has changed your operation and any anecdotes that come to mind.
Yep. So this particular pump is probably 40 kilometres. I think it'd be about 40 from where everybody lives. We do have a lot of trouble with it previously. We have a lot of, when cattle change from one trough to another. So we always seem to be adjusting the timer. You can see we've actually got it set where the green is pumping, the green lines are pumping, and then where a pump where the tank has gone down for one reason or another. We've either manually controlled that, or we've got a trigger that when it gets to, I think it's 100 centimeters, it will automatically turn on regardless of the time. And so this probably has saved us on a number of occasions, because we can, rather than wait around to turn that pump off if we've got a pump extra, we're just doing that pretty much off the button, and it's monitoring and controlling itself essentially off the tank sensor. So if the tank hits full, it turns off. The saving on that alone, just by being exact, is been about $300 or $400 in power bills, probably a quarter. And wow. It's really hard to know how much time that does save us, but it was just a very manual process that now is very automated. And yeah, we've got three pump controllers now. We're moving as many pumps as we can across to it. It does a better job than a human ever could in terms of its censoring when to turn it off, and for us, pressure switches, we can't put on a couple of those for different issues, so it's having to have been a timer. And so yeah, we love the pump controller. We haven't had any trouble really with it. Once it's set up, you can set it to pump first in off-peak times, and then if it measures a certain amount of parameters, it will kick over outside of that time, but it'll utilise the off-peak first. Yeah. And of course, you can just go to the button and hit start, and away you go on your phone.
I won't do it now because I'll start your pump, but
you absolutely can if you want.
I won't, but
yeah.
And just to notify everyone, when you do hit that, the text message will go out saying, well, and also when it automatically starts, your pump has started, and you'll get another one saying your pump has stopped. Obviously, you can refine who's getting those messages, but most people really enjoy seeing that pop up.
Yep.
Cara, if you're happy, I might also just show rain gauges. I just thought you've got 3 here, which is a good.
Probably the Bradford Park one, the bullock paddock. Yeah, that one is probably better. Yeah, so we have a few rain gauges, particularly the ones that are most useful are actually a long way from the house. So they're areas that we don't go to, or that we don't have somebody living there, so you can see pretty well instantly. It doesn't always tick over straight away. You have to wait for it to drop in the bucket, and but it does give you really good sense of what's happening in real time. So we like that for areas that we don't have anyone living on, and it's a great record. You can go back, and as I said, we own the data, so we can pull that out into a Excel spreadsheet, whatever we like, and we have better, we have to have a digital rain gauge of some description because we aren't really good at paper record keeping, and we have terrible rain records for everywhere else that's a manual record. I would say the rain gauges do take a little bit of maintenance. You do have to clean them out. There's not, in terms of the software, they're set and forget, but there is, some maintenance with the rain gauges, particularly if you are not in a rainy area and it doesn't get rain for a while, it can get clogged up.
Yeah, that's right. The rain gauges work with a tipper mechanism, so inside, and every time it tips a certain amount, it'll register a quantity. So you do have to check from time to time that a spider hasn't made his home in there and prevented that tipper from tipping. We have just started, we've got a wire mesh screen on the top, which we've just started setting out with every single one of our rain gauges based on that feedback that we got, and a cleaning kit. So that is still to help, but it does still require you going and having a look every now and again. So good to plan that in your maintenance schedules. And are you able to talk about, have you found it easy to get the data off the platform?
Yeah, we don't do a lot off the platform except for probably the rain. We are starting to do a little bit with pulling out data around our water usage, but I would say that's probably in its infancy. But the beauty of it is it just goes straight into an Excel spreadsheet. So you can pull it out as a CSV file, export it, and that just works like any normal software. That's what we like about it, and it's not there's sort of no limit to how you can export that out of here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
wonderful. I might just jump back onto yours, Josh, just simply to show these are all your separate locations. So when there is an enterprise that does have a whole heap of different properties, this is how it's organized. So you would go through, click, oh, that's one's not been set up, click through these and it takes you to the different properties. Yeah, I'll show the demo farm as well. Before I move on to the demo farm, is there anything else that you guys would like to share in particular about the platform? Or
I suppose I probably just want to, like I said before, I think once it's set up, people just don't quite understand how easy it is. It's amazing. Like you got the app on your phone, you can jump on and like I just keep going back to time. It's just so easy. Once it is set up, you don't need to be spending all this money and all this time elsewhere. It's just easy. That's all.
yeah, thank you. That's awesome. Okay, so I just wanted to do a quick walkthrough. We've taken up quite a bit of time with that great discussion, so I won't go into this in too much detail. However, this is our demonstration farm, so anyone is welcome to have a play on this so you can get a feel for how the data is presented, and you can see all of the different sensors on the side. I think historically we're known as the tank monitoring group. However, we've definitely expanded what we offer. So you can see on the left-hand side all the different sensors, and this list is forever growing. We've got a few partnerships at the moment, which I'll speak to next. However, take you to one of yes. So here you see we've got the traffic light system. So if you jump on in the morning of your coffee, you can see the green looks good, amber requires some attention, and red immediate action. That's based on the parameters that you set within that. So clicking on here, this one was red, so this one's jumped down to 7%, and you can see these are the intersections where this is when the messages were sent out, as well as this would have triggered an excessive rate of fall. And the sensitivity is something that you can change yourself on your own platform, relevant to the size of your tank. Yeah. So when you've got you'll see a whole list of sensors. You can click through. This one, we've recently partnered with Landwatch as well. Security, we don't have obviously access to that because it's for legality reasons, it's only visible to your property. Got the bore sensors, turkey nest, fuel's becoming increasingly popular. The line pressure sensors, so that's how that would end up looking. Liquid fertilizer and the troughs. With the troughs, we've got a couple of different types of trough sensors. One, and the one down here, the Trough Direct, that is a direct to satellite product. So you can move that around. It doesn't require any other monitors to be in the vicinity. It operates as a solo piece. We've also got another trough sensor, which is what Kara uses, which is an extend, and they piggyback off one of your existing monitors and their cellular activity. And speaking of the connectivity, all of these have a choice between satellite or cellular. So we've got connectivity all around the world, no matter where you are. Okay, all right, I might now stop sharing. We might, in the interest of time, I might jump across to AgriWebb. I'll just bring up their slides. Oh, here's one of our slides. Actually, I wanted to share. This is our product ecosystem. And it speaks to our interest in our R&D and the products that we're bringing online, which is always forever increasing. Okay, over to you, Jack.
Thank you, Pip. So I guess, yeah, just piggybacking off the back of those initial questions that Pip asked. I guess the first one I'd love to hear from you both, Josh and Cara, is, I guess, how have you sort of been able to utilize the integration between AgriWebb and Farmbot? Obviously, there's a lot of different integrations that are available now. So I'd love to just sort of hear how you've been able to make it work on both of your operations. Josh, if you wanted to kick us off.
Yeah, mate, for sure. Mate, the best one we use is the rain gauges between both apps. It doesn't matter what app you're on, you can see. Yeah, it's like I said before, it's just time saving, the Farmbot app and the AgriWebb app. But yeah, the biggest integration that we've got, mate, are those rain gauges. They're quite vital for us, mate. 100%.
Yeah. And Cara, how have you sort of been able to see it on your property as well?
Well, I guess the first thing we ever integrated was the rain gauges, because that happened to be the first thing that I think you guys connected with. So most people would go to AgriWebb to have a look at the rainfall and what the 12-month spread looks like. So I would say rain gauges first. And again, when we first only had a few tanks, I would say more staff used AgriWebb as the point of contact for those tanks. As we've increased the amount of tanks that we've had, people tend to use Farmbot to access the tanks because they're all there in that dashboard, whereas they are still there in AgriWebb, but they're just a little bit harder. And when you pull the map out on your phone to find the icons and things, so it actually depends on the staff member as to which one they really like to go to. But we have it set up. There's no additional cost really, so we have it set up for whichever way people would like to view it. The graphs and things that are in AgriWebb are probably visually, some people really get a lot more out of that visual representation than they might do out of the Farmbot charts. It's a little bit of personal preference as to which way you like. Some people learn differently, and I think that has a bit to do with whether they like the way AgriWebb's got it visualized and the way Farmbot's got it visualized, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess from an operational point of view as well, have you been able to use that information that you've been gathering from your sensors and that sort of thing then on AgriWebb to, I guess, better manage your rotations or pastures and that sort of thing?
Probably not not so much from a grass management point of view. And I think we're in the infancy of trying to measure what our water is doing. So I think we're a bit experimental with trying to work out whether how much our cattle are drinking and whether they're drinking enough, whether the water's clean, is there a difference? I would say we're probably not making decisions on that yet. We're just trying to work out what does a hot day look like and what does a cold day look like, because we've really never had that before. The rain for everyone is probably what we look at in terms of how much rain we've had for the year, how much rain we've had in the last 90 days. That's probably where we do look at what's happening and what that's going to do for the property. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I guess, Josh, have you been able to measure any of that? I know with some of these larger corporate operations, they do sort of like to have the ability to use that data that they're getting into to sort of see pasture performance or those sort of metrics. So how has it impacted your business?
Yeah, I suppose it's the feed. I suppose the feed on offer, mate, is the big one for our side of it. Yeah, just it's a really good reasoning for our organisation because we've got such big land mass. Yeah, that's probably our biggest one, I reckon. I'm going to say that, mate. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. No, that's all good. And I guess with all this data that you're collating from all the services that you could be using, how important has, I guess, the ability to have all these open APIs and know that you own the data been to, I guess, committing to some of these different businesses that offer these sort of services? Cara, I know you had some good thoughts around it initially.
Well, I'd just like to say to everyone, you need to be very careful and mindful when you're signing up to something, regardless of these guys, about what Open API is and who owns your data, because some of them will tell you that you own it, and when you actually get into the fine print, you don't. So we have been caught with that previously, not with these two companies, but that's something now we actually look really hard at the fine print when we're signing up to software, as to what and where else does our data go. You know, are we feeding it into a machine somewhere else and they're making money off us some other way? So yeah, we've been bitten, and we think that's a really important attribute in what we want in any software package.
Yeah, nice. And I guess, Josh, for you as well, I know you've been a part of obviously the two different sort of setups as well. How have you sort of seen that on your end, coming from more of, I guess, a farm management perspective?
Sorry, mate. I just dropped out there. You'll have to go again. Sorry.
No, all good, all good. I guess just in terms of like the API and having all of your data there for you, how have you found it from being, obviously you've had experience with AgriWebb at prior farms, and then now where you're at Pastoral Partners, how's that sort of impacted your day-to-day and sort of having ownership over that data?
Yeah, the ownership of the data, Cara can probably explain it better than me, but the ownership of that data is fantastic. The amount of data you get, it's different for everyone. Probably a bit like me, I read way over it too much and just keep moving on to find something that I can concentrate on. But it's big, and it's just not a single, like, there's so much information that you can get for it. Whether you learn from it or whether you use it is up to you. But there's a lot of stuff that you can learn, a lot of data that you can hopefully make something better from it in the future.
Yeah, nice. And I guess from an AgriWebb sort of perspective, at the moment, how are you sort of recording information day to day? And I guess maybe if you could give us sort of your most used maybe records that you're using on farm at the moment, and how they're sort of powering your decision making. So I'd love to sort of know that from you, Josh. Yeah,
so I suppose record keeping. With our organisation, everything we're a adjustment country, so we basically send out invoices every month, and it's a big number, it's a big dollar figure, and the accuracy of AgriWebb and how we do that, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without that. It's quite huge from our perspective, mate.
Yeah, nice. And I guess, Cara, have you noticed it, since you've obviously been able to start beginning to extrapolate all the data that you're putting in? I guess what records are you sort of making use of the most, and I guess what's the impact of being able to record that on your end as well?
Yeah, so I guess from an analysis point of view, we probably don't use AgriWebb quite the same as Josh, but from compliance on a mob base is so we don't use the individual management at the moment, but the mob based probably record keeping. So in terms of LPA, and if you keep it up to date, it's quite succinct, easy, and ticks all the boxes, I guess. From that point of view, our biosecurity plan is up there. Everyone can see that. And yeah, from an LPA point of view, it probably, I don't have to worry about an audit pretty much, as long as it's up. Probably the hardest thing is making sure everyone updates it, which is not hard. It's just becomes human error, not software driven.
Yeah, nice. That's good to hear. It's always nice to hear that there's a bit of ease of use with those pesky LPA audits. So it's always nice to make that a bit easier for everyone. Pip and Olivia, if we've still got a bit of time, I might just do a quick little demo of how the integration sort of works here on our end and what it might look like for your customers if they do have AgriWebb connecting up. So I might just share.
Perfect. I'll stop.
Thank you.
That'd be great, Jack.
Awesome. Alrighty. So this is obviously what it'll look like here on the AgriWebb end. So I'll just sort of run everyone through what a tank and obviously the rain gauge will look like. So on your map, obviously if I zoom out a little bit here, you can see we've got all the mapping just here. And when we zoom in, you'll see you've got your tank monitor down here with the little green dot. So that's indicating that tank is active. As you can see here, it's going to be showing through all that information that you'd see on your Farmbot app as well. So you can see your tank capacity, its current level, the last reading that's come through. So that reading came through about an hour ago. And then you can obviously see down here as well, each reading that's coming through to AgriWebb. You've then got the ability to obviously set your warning levels on your tank as you would in Farmbot. So if you did want to get a notification and that sort of thing on the AgriWebb side, that's possible as well. And then just a look at what the rainfall gauge looks like. So I think we've got one just up here, I believe. Click into here. Well, that rain gauge. So this one, once again, we've got another water tank up here that's active and showing through. And that rain gauge, it must have disconnected. So we'll get that one all hooked back up for you. But what the sort of integration will look like, so I'll go through here onto our sort of demo platform. So if you're a Farmbot customer and you've got an AgriWebb account as well, and you sort of wanted to connect up and see what the platform looked like, all you'd have to do is just navigate to your account section down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You'd then head into the marketplace and you'd obviously then see the connections that we run with. So we've got our Farmbot one just here. You'd head
Sorry,
in.
Jack, I'm not sure we're seeing the same screen as you.
Oh, sorry. Which screen is showing for you?
We've just got the blacked out shaded one with the cattle head.
Oh, okay. Let me see if we can get that fixed. Let me just share again. Can you see that all right now?
Just loading. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks for that. So you just jump down here to the your AgriWebb account. Go into your marketplace connection. You'll see all the connections load up here. You then jump into Farmbot and you would allow your access up here at the top. So it's a pretty simple, it's probably our most simple integration we offer. As long as you've got your obviously sensors set up on your farms on the Farmbot side. So similar to like what Pastoral Partners have with their multiple properties. If you've sort of got multiple blocks and that sort of thing, as long as that's set up on the Farmbot end correctly, that will then mirror exactly how it is on AgriWebb. And then from there, you'll then be able to go in and use the various reports. So all your data would then flow through into the rainfall reports or the rainfall by gauge. So if you had your multiple gauges set up, you could then sort of visualize that data, as Kara was mentioning earlier, to go through and sort of see it over a longer period of time. And then that's going to hopefully help to make some more informed decisions around obviously your paddock grazing. So if you're in your reports, you could then go into your paddock grazing intensity report, similarly with the DSE load by paddock. And then I guess one of our newer features, which a lot of farmers that we've had some great feedback around using their Farmbot sensors on, is our grazing planner. So this is going to sort of give you the ability to go into our grazing chart and you'll be able to get your average stocking rate, so obviously your DSC per hectare per 100 mil, and down the bottom here as well, you'll get that rainfall that's feeding through from your sensors, showing on a rolling graph as well. So this is an add-on that we've sort of just released, and at the moment we are running a sort of 1 month trial on it as well. So if anyone's sort of keen to give that a go and see how they can sort of optimize their pastures and that sort of thing, I think it's a really great tool to measure your rainfall. And then obviously as grazing becomes a bigger component of our operations now, that can be a super handy function as well through there. So just to reiterate, when you're going on to your AgriWebb account, you'll need to just go into your account down the bottom, AgriWebb Marketplace, and then once in there, you'll be able to navigate through to your Farmbot connection as well. So that's sort of the setup here on our end, and it'll be fairly similar from the Farmbot end as well, and pretty simple from there. So yeah, that's just a little demo from the AgriWebb side. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free just to drop them in the chat or reach out to us in the support team.
Absolutely. Okay, Olivia, do you want to?
Yeah, so thanks so much, Jack. That was really great to see that integration. So everyone, this is where we open the floor up to any questions that you'd like to have. There's no question that's too simple. So feel free to put one of your questions in the Q&A, and it's a great chance to have that answered by our panelists here today. Jack, I'll kick it off. Can you talk everyone through how to set up that integration? So if they've got AgriWebb on their devices and they've just installed a new monitor, Farmbot monitor, can you just walk us through what they do to sort of set that all up and take us through those steps?
Yeah, no issues at all, Olivia. So pretty much as I showed just before, as long as you've initially set up that connection through the AgriWebb Marketplace, so you've headed to your account, you've headed to the marketplace and you've enabled that connection. If you were to go on and add, obviously through Farmbot, another like rain gauge or tank sensor, tank monitor, or that sort of thing, you'd then, as long as that's in the Farmbot side, that'll automatically start reporting across to us. The little sort of icon should then pop up on your farm map as well. So once that's set on the Farmbot end, it'll just report straight back directly through to us. And it can usually take maybe an hour or two, obviously, for that data to start flowing through the API. But once it's all set up, you should then be able to see that on both your Farmbot side and then on your AgriWebb farm as well. That data should start showing.
Yeah, fantastic. Pip, did you want to take us through any commonly asked questions that you find that people ask you?
Yeah, I mean, on the AgriWebb integration, we currently connect the rain gauges and the tanks. If you want the more detailed information, you will still need to go to the Farmbot platform in terms of your flow meters, your pressure sensors, your pump control. So it's just sort of, you know, the concept is that it just makes it easier when you're on your AgriWebb platform. You've got that exposure, but obviously the apps to be used in conjunction with one another. Yeah, that's the main one essentially.
Amazing. And I've just had Matt from AgriWebb share in the meeting chat a really great article that walks everyone through the steps enabling that integration. So if you'd like to see a little bit more information, there's a really great article that's there in the chat. So thanks so much for that, Matt. Jack, do you have any sort of commonly asked questions that customers often ask you, or people that are looking to set up AgriWebb on their property?
Yeah, probably the most common one is, does there need to be like, do I need to have a certain amount of animals or that sort of thing to sort of utilize the platform? And at the moment, there's obviously no barrier to entry with AgriWebb. We obviously work on a sort of per head basis. So you could offer, so you could run 10 head, you could run 5,000 head of cattle. There's going to be obviously something in it from you from an LPA sort of perspective in terms of auditing and that sort of thing. Even if it's just using the maps, as Cara said before, the amount of feedback we get around people wanting to be able to see where their monitors are, where there might be baits out, where there might be electric fences. Just being able to visualize that on the farm has become super important to people, obviously training up new staff as we get sort of more international workers back on farms again. So I think that's probably our biggest question is, I guess, what sort of user roles do we offer? And is there sort of a minimum head count that you have to have for your farm? And so we offer a lot of different user roles. So it's very similar to you guys, I guess, giving varying levels of access. And then similar with our plan types, you can jump on and have as many head as you want, and you'll be priced accordingly off that from there.
And one other thing I wanted to add, Olivia, I think it speaks to something you mentioned the other day, Cara, which stuck in my head, was that when you're thinking about getting started, if you're unsure and you think, oh, you know, I don't know what the platform's going to be like in real time, we've got a 60-day money day money back guarantee. So just get one, see how it goes, see how you like it, and interact with it and see if it does work for you. There's no harm lost in trying. I believe you said fail small but fail often, Cara, or am I butchering that?
Yes, fail often.
Yes.
Fail often and fail small. So yeah. I think that's we don't go in with, you know, everything, all our eggs in one basket. We'll give it a little go, and then you can add to it afterwards, and especially if you're a little bit unsure and if you're trying to make a decision, I think we've always got to move forward and innovate. So we do have to try things, and for some people, you know, you'll find particular things work better than others. So, but you never know unless you'd never go.
Yep, no, that's right. And as I mentioned before, anyone who'd like to jump onto our demo site, just send us an email or give us a call and we can set you up with that. Cool.
Fantastic. Is there anything else, Cara, that you wanted to add before we finish up?
Probably look, just with I think where we're all headed with innovation and technology. Farmbot AgriWebb is one of probably just a variety of technology that is coming at us at 100 miles an hour, and it can be really confusing space. And I think not having a go or not trying anything is probably, you know, we do risk as an industry being left behind. But finding the solution out there for you individually or as a business is going out and having a look at all the different types of tech that's out there and trying to assess which one suits you best is my advice.
Yeah, nice. And how about you, Josh? Anything that you want to add before we finish up?
No, not too much, mate. I think Cara nailed it again. But I suppose what I want to say, you know, the world is changing. It's technology based, and whether you like it or not, that's the way it's going. And like I keep saying 6 times over, that it's just easy. This stuff is easy. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. Everybody knows that, but how this stuff gauges our organisation from both Farmbot with the water and, you know, the feed on offer, the rotational grazing through AgriWebb, like, it's just easy. It is honestly really easy. So I just give it, like you said, you got trials. It's not going to cost you anything. Just have a go. You haven't got to buy 500 like we have. You just get a couple and have a go. So that's the way the world's going, is technology based, and you know, you've just got to literally have a go at it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Jack. It was really wonderful to see everything from AgriWebb and see that demo of the software. We really appreciated that. And thank you so much, Cara and Josh. It was wonderful to hear about your experience and your operation. And thanks very much, Pip. We'll send out the recordings of the webinar today. And if you have any questions at all, please get in touch and we'd love to help you out.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks very much, everyone. See you later.
See you guys.
Very good. Thank you.